Offshore asset protection is often misunderstood. It's often associated with crime, money laundering, and secret bank accounts. The main users of offshore asset protection strategies are hard-working entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, and other professionals. They want to make sure their assets remain safe in what's becoming an ever more litigious society. Litigation is a fact of life nowadays. Lawsuits can be initiated by ex-employees, business partners, or spouses, amongst a host of other potential litigants. Tax laws are constantly changing in most countries. New taxes are constantly proposed and needed to pay for the vast and ever-increasing public expenditure. Wealth taxes have been implemented in several countries. Governments are the ultimate parasites, and they can often grab your money and freeze your assets first and ask questions later. In every country, multiple government agencies have the ability to freeze your bank accounts and your assets. So, what does an ironclad asset protection structure look like? Firstly, you want to have an offshore asset protection structure that is not legally owned by you. That means that you'll want to have a foundation or a trust at the top of your asset protection pyramid. You won't want to carry out day-to-day operations through a trust, so below the trust you'd have an offshore company. The best jurisdiction would depend on your particular situation. Offshore companies are a crucial ingredient of a successful offshore asset protection structure. The company should be in a different jurisdiction to the trust. Your offshore company will own various assets around the world. For example, it could own property, bank accounts, precious metals, and gold in different countries. Your creditors would not even know these assets existed, therefore they'd be unable to seize them. To make an absolutely bulletproof offshore asset protection structure, it's essential to ensure that you don't keep significant assets in your home country. Obvious valuable assets such as homes and businesses can be loaded with debt from your own offshore asset protection setup. For example, your offshore company can own a mortgage on your home, leaving no equity for any creditor to touch. Your business can pledge its key assets to part of your offshore asset protection structure so that no value is left for any creditor to seize. Keep only enough money to cover a few months' expenses in your local bank account. Keep any big stashes overseas in the name of your company or trust. Have precious metal stored in a non-bank vault in a different country. This should be owned by your trust. You'll also want to make sure that you have an overseas bolt hole in a location that you like spending time, and a residency or passport from a different country. If you're able to put all these steps in place, you have made yourself virtually immune from having your assets seized by a third party. A second passport is another key tool in your freedom arsenal. It ensures that you're able to travel when you want. The fact is that you don't own your passport, your government does. They can cancel it at any time. A second residency is simply the legal right to stay in another country. If you choose the right country, it can be a stepping stone to a second passport. It ensures that you can legally enter the country where that residence is. If you own a second home in that country, it's essential to have the right to enter that country whenever you want. Detailed planning is needed to put your asset protection structure in place. They must be planned and implemented years before any threat exists. There are a number of detailed steps that have to be worked through to ensure that you do not legally own the assets that are transferred to an asset protection trust. At the same time, it's necessary to ensure that you have complete control of everything. One often overlooked strategy in planning your offshore asset protection setup is mindset. When you have put everything in place, you must have the mindset that if things get bad, you're prepared to walk away and go to one of your bolt holes. If a crisis is brewing, either for you personally or something wider concerning your whole country, you must be prepared to act fast and walk away. You'll be in a much better position than most with the preparations you've made. Would you like to have safe, hidden, and untouchable wealth? Your Wealth Fortress is a free report from Liberty Mundo that will show you how you can protect your assets. You'll learn unique and valuable strategies for keeping your assets untouchable and untrackable by anyone. You could have millions, even billions of dollars, and nobody would know it, find it, or touch it. Not with a team of the best global lawyers, not with the most powerful government on their side. And when you die, it will pass quietly, unnoticed, and untaxed to your heirs. It's all detailed in our special report titled Your Wealth Fortress: Bulletproof Structures to Protect Your Assets. Please follow the link in the description to get instant access and start implementing the strategies to protect your assets.